Yo, what's going on, everyone? Shoonami here, back with another video today. So the video I want to do today is a video called Why Age Sneakers Are Stupid, okay? So age sneakers, you know, we've had a few of these. They like to call them the reimagines or whatever. I'm personally not a big fan of these shoes, like, at all. Some of them, I guess, are okay. I will admit that. There is some I do like, such as the Jordan 5 Black Metallics I really like. The Lost and Found ones, I do like them, but I mean, if I had to choose between the Lost and Found ones or just the Chicago ones, I'd rather just get the normal Chicagos. But the cheapest option for me right now, if I did want to get a Chicago high, would probably have to be the Lost and Found, unfortunately. Or I guess I could get the Across the Spider-Verse, which are somewhat Chicagos. I guess they kind of are, but they're not really an official Chicago colorway, you know. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Age sneakers are pretty stupid, okay? So there's the one, I remember the first one we had was the Air Jordan 1 Lost and Found. And then I'm pretty sure the second one they had, just by Jordan sneakers, I know they had some dunks like that. And then I will talk about the Jordan 3 soles recently that came out that were aged as well. But first we had, you know, the Lost and Found Jordan 1s. And then we had the Jordan 1 Royals, which were the suede Royal ones instead of just the normal ones, which they should just gave us the normal fucking ones, but they gave us the suede ones, which I will admit they were a very beautiful pair in hand. But when it comes to beautiful pairs that are suede and nubuck, which I will talk about why I don't like those in another video, is the fact that you got to be so careful with those shoes or else you can easily ruin them. And yeah, I'm probably going to get comments from people telling me, well, why don't you just spray it with, what is that, Rejuvenator, I think it's called? Or there's some type of spray. Wait, no, it might be Crep Protect, one of those. And they're going to say, well, why can't you just spray that? It's like, I could do it, but like, I'd rather not have to go through all of that just to protect my shoes. And sometimes I've heard this Rejuvenator and Crep Protect, sometimes it can ruin the suede. I'm not sure how true that is, but I'd rather just have a shoe and not have to worry about all the other extra stuff that goes with it, you know? That's why I don't wear crease protectors, you know? I don't need that uncomfortable feeling in my toe, you know. The Jordans already aren't that comfortable with sneakers anyway, unless you're wearing the fucking 13s. That might be another video for another time. But anyway, getting back to yeah, dang, I really got off topic there. So then the next shoe we had was, oh, you know what, I might be wrong, I think the white cement 3s, those were reimagined as well, or an aged look. But those ones might have came out actually after the Lost and Founds. I cannot remember. I really cannot. Did they come before? Whatever. All right, but you know, they're in there, okay? So those ones are actually really nice too. Unfortunately, I never actually hit on those. I tried to, and I actually never got them. Still don't have them, but I have the Jordan 4 white cements that just came out, which I'm really glad they did not reimagine those or make them with the age look, because those look beautiful, even though the material's shit. But they're very beautiful sneakers. But the Jordan 3 white cement's another one they had. And then also recently we did have, this year we had the Black Metallic 5s, which honestly were one of the craziest fucking releases of this year. And I don't understand why they were so crazy and people went so crazy after them. That might be even another video for another time. But those ones, I feel like was because of mainly TikTok and everyone hyping those up online. And I think that was the first big Jordan release of 2025, if I'm correct. I might be wrong. I think it was, yeah. But there was those ones I am definitely a fan of, because I really love the 3M in those, and it really makes the shoe pop. And the Nike Air in the back does look, it's just kind of because I know I used to have the 2016 pair and I did like it stitched. However, I do think the Jordan 5 Black Metallic was definitely a really good shoe, for sure. That was a reimagined shoe, but that one you really could not tell it was reimagined, like it was supposed to be aged. You could not tell just by looking at the shoe that was aged. You can tell by the Lost and Founds, you can tell by the white cements that they're aged just by the way they look. You know, the midsole just gives it off. The sail midsoles, boom, that's how you know it's reimagined, majority of the time. But anyway, the next shoe we have that was a reimagined or an aged look, honestly I can't even remember, but we'll go back to the Jordan 3 sole. So the Jordan 3 sole was a shoe that released in 2018. I'm pretty sure it was only exclusive to Korea, And the original release was a white midsole, and it was a very clean shoe overall. It looked really, really nice. And then they just told us this year they're going to release them again, except this time it's going to be the GR, right? So they release them, and before they release them, they always do official images. And you see these official images, and there's this fucking piss color midsole that just looks nasty as shit. It's like, why the fuck did they do that? Why they gotta age everything? The age look is kind of like a fad that just is been ended for, I'd say, a good 2 or 3 years by now. Because I do remember when it was a very popular thing to do, have age sneakers. But nowadays, it just seems like they're just releasing shit that they designed years ago, which they do, but they dropped them now, and it's just kind of nasty looking. They just look bad. It's like the age sneakers, I understand that they already look dirty and it's like this style, but to me it just looks terrible. And that's the thing, it's just clean sneakers that have like a white midsole and that are just a close to OG as possible, such as the military blue 4s that dropped last year, and then again with the white cement 4s that dropped, and even the olive 9s. All of those were great releases because they were not aged and they were just normal. So I don't know why they can't do that, you know. It would have been great if they could have made those Soul 3s the normal pair that they have, but instead they made it this really nasty midsole. And I will admit that I do have them, and in hand, the midsole doesn't look as bad as it does on camera, but I still would have preferred the fucking 2018 clean pair that they have. So one thing I do want to also say about these reimagines or aged looks is I do have one pro about them that I actually do like, and that is that the material used on these shoes is actually pretty decent. So I'm going to bring back the Jordan 3 soles I was talking about, and then the Jordan 4 white cements I was talking about. So I got both pairs, right? And the material on the 4s, like I said, was pretty shit. But the material on the Jordan 3 soles, the aged ones, was actually pretty decent. And although I don't have the white cement 3 reimagines, the material on those looks pretty good as well. So I don't know why they can't just put this premium material on the close to OG as possible pairs. I'm not sure why they don't, but they just decide not to. Like, if they would have made the white cement 4 better material, it definitely would have been like a 9 to 9.5 out of 10 shoe. But instead they decide, oh no, let's make it this crappy material. This $225 price point is just crazy for Jordan 4s, and the material is always shit on them. The Jordan 4 white Thunders were shit material for a $225 shoe. I feel like I was getting fucking scammed when I bought them. I'm like, damn, this shoe feels cheap. I just spent almost $236 after tax on these things, and holy shit, they don't even feel that good. Like, it made me want to immediately just sell them, because I'm like, I paid all this money for these shoes, and I just feel like I got scammed with how cheap they felt. Actually, you know what? I think they were $220 now I think about it, but whatever. It's still within the price range of $225, $220. You know, it's very expensive for a pair of sneakers, especially a sneaker that is not an OG colorway. So back to why the reimagine the age sneakers just suck. It just looks bad. Okay, why don't they just give us the normal pairs that were the clean normal pairs? And I do think the material is better on the aged ones. Like, they did have a good example of this is the Panda Dunk. So if you remember the Panda Dunk, they did have an aged Panda Dunk, and they had the normal Panda Dunk. And the aged Panda Dunk, people would say buy that one because the material was actually better than just a GR Panda Dunk. Dunks are pretty shit quality too, but I'm just trying to prove my point that the aged ones usually are better material. For some reason. They're not always, but for some reason they are. And like I said with that Jordan 1 Royal, the reimagined one, it was a very beautiful pair, and it felt very premium in hand when I held it. It was like, whoa, like when I was holding it, you know, because I was like, damn, the material on this is pretty nice. But I wasn't going to buy those shoes because one fucking drop of, I don't even know, soda, and boom, those things are ruined, you know? And that's another thing. It's just you got to be careful with those suede shoes, which I will talk about in another video. But, you know, I honestly would have, if they would have released the Jordan 1 Royal, not reimagined, just the normal Royal, I definitely would have picked it up. But I didn't, because they had this suede material. I was like, nah, I don't want to wear this because I got to be real careful with this. So I just want to put that out there. And this age sneaker is just getting out of hand now. It's just kind of stupid. Oh, you know what else they did? What were they called? The Nike Air Tech Challenge, the hot lava colorway. Those ones were also aged as well on the midsole. Now that one wasn't too bad just because it was a very small detail, but they did kind of age the midsole on that. I'm not sure why they did. I'm really glad that they decided to not age the Air Trainer High, the Air Trainer SC High, the Auburns. I'm really glad they decided to not age those because that probably would have looked pretty bad. And oh, you know what? I forgot to bring this up, but if you remember when the Jordan 1 Lost and Founds were originally released or talked about being released, they were called the Reimagines, and everyone clowned the fuck out of them. So guess what they did? They decided to call it the Lost and Founds to give a concept that is supposed to be from an old mom and pop sneaker shop in the back, abandoned stock room, and it was supposed to be like a pair you're supposed to find from 85 that was just abandoned in the back. That's why the box and the lid are mismatched, I mean, it's a cool concept, but they basically just put that out instead of saying reimagined, and then I guess everyone was just okay with that, so that was that. And now that I'm talking about this, I just remembered the UNC 1 reimagines that did drop recently. That's the most recent one. I knew I was missing one of them. That's the one. Okay, so those ones, honestly, they were I really would have rather just had the normal UNC. So after I saw that they dropped them and I saw that they were sitting and they're going into retail now, I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me see the OG pair. Let me see if the OG pair has dropped in price at all, since no one wants these. And those motherfuckers were still like $500. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I guess I'm just going to have to wait then till they release just the official UNC 1 like it's supposed to be. Or maybe if I can find it cheap enough, I will just get the UNC 1 by themselves, the reimagined pair. I might possibly do that. We'll see, but I really don't know. Like, again, the only reimagined pair I have in my collection is the Jordan 5 Black Metallic, which, again, you really cannot tell that's reimagined. But as UNC, we'll see if I might grab it. I might pick it up if I have time. Not time, but if I find it cheap enough, I might grab it. But yeah, again, age sneakers, they just really need to stop with this. It just looks ugly. And I know people online, on Reddit, they're all sick of it. They don't like it. They don't want it. I'm not even sure if the kids even want it at this point, But that's all I really got to say about age sneakers. Let me know what you guys think about these age sneakers and if they still continue to do this, or why you like or why you don't like it. But I'll see y'all next time. Bye. Now, I also forgot to mention the Jordan 4 Bread reimagines. I know I forgot to put that in there. But those I actually did like, just because it wasn't like the 2019 Breads and the OG Breads where they have nubuck on the shoe. So I don't got to worry about getting it all ruined when I'm in the rain. And they actually are pretty comfortable, and they do run a little bit more wide and a tiny bit longer, I feel like, than normal Jordans that are made out of nubuck. So I think the Jordan 4 reimagines are actually pretty valid. I'm not sure if those would be really considered age sneakers. They're more of just reimagined because they put them out in a different way. And I know probably a lot of OG sneakerheads probably aren't a fan of these because they look hideous. And I can understand that. But for me personally, I really like the actual Jordan 4 Bread reimagines. And I definitely choose them over the OG Jordan 4 Breads. I just wanted to put that out there since I completely forgot about the reimagined 4s. And now I can officially say bye.